mbrëma të nderuar shikues, po takohemi edhe këtë premtë si çdo herë në emisionin për ekonomi dhe biznes 7 ditë me Panxhën. Në 50 minuta të këtij episodi do të kemi mundësi të ndjekim disa materiale, duke filluar me storyn se çka është Vienna Economic Forum dhe çka u diskutua në Vienna Economic Talks mbajtur në Prishtinë. Pastaj do të ndjekim një intervistë me sekretaren e përgjithshme të Vienna Economic Forum, zonjën Elena Kirçeva, duke vazhduar me një storje sa i përket marrëdhënieve tregtare mes Kosovës dhe Austrisë dhe investimeve austriake në Kosovë. Pastaj do të ndjekim një intervistë me presidentin e Vienna Economic Forum, zotrin Viktor Jaković. Derisa në fund të emisionit kemi përgatitur një storje sa i përket Austrisë në statistika ekonomike. Por fillimisht i ndjekim lajmet e javës për ekonomi dhe pastaj vazhdojmë me emisionin. 6.785 vende pune janë të hapura tek platformat qeveritare Superpuna. Kështu kanë njoftuar nga kjo platformë punësimi në faqen e tyre në Facebook. Të rinjët e moshave nga 18 deri në 25 vjeç të interesuar për mundësi punësimi mund të regjistrohen në superpuna.rks.vizgov.net, shkruan në njoftim. Lidhur me këtë, rreth 10 ditë më parë, Ministri i Financave Hekuran Murati ka bërë të ditur se përmes kësaj platforme janë punësuar 1.994 të rinj, mbi 51% prej tyre vajza. Kosova do të ketë rritjen më të madhe ekonomike në raport me të gjitha vendet e Ballkanit Perëndimor, kështu ka theksuar Banka Evropiane për Rindërtim dhe Zhvillim (BERD) në raportin Perspektivat ekonomike rajonale. BERD pohon se rritja ekonomike për Kosovën do të jetë 3.5%, pastaj vjen Mali i Zi që parashihet të shënojë rritje ekonomike prej 3.3%, pasuar nga Shqipëria me 2.5%, si dhe nga 2% Maqedonia e Veriut, Bosnjë e Hercegovina dhe Serbia. Ndryshe, sipas këtij institucioni, gjatë vitit të kaluar rritja ekonomike në vendet e Ballkanit Perëndimor ishte e moderuar. Sipas një parashikimi të Komisionit të Bashkimit Evropian, ekonomia në BE do të jetë më e qëndrueshme se sa mendohej vitin e kaluar. Autoritetet e BE-s tani presin një rritje prej 1.1% në ekonominë e eurozonës, ndryshe nga parashikimi që u publikua në shkurt, ku Komisioni supozonte një rritje prej 0.9%. Për vitin e ardhshëm, Komisioni parashikon një rritje prej 1.7%, ndërsa në publikimin e shkurtit parashikohej rritje prej 1.6%. Për zonën e euros pritet një rritje prej 1.6% në vitin 2024, e që më parë ishte parashikuar të jetë 1.5%. Çka është Vienna Economic Forum? Është storja që ka përgatitur kolegu ynë gazetar Flakon Demaku, ku do të na tregojë më shumë detaje lidhur me Vienna Economic Forum dhe Vienna Economic Talks që u mbajt për herë të parë në Prishtinë. E ndjekim së bashku.
Forumi ekonomik i Vienës u themelua në vitin 2004. Me silinë e vjen të Austrisë, forumi synon të promovojë bashkëpunim ekonomik, integrim rajonal dhe zhvillim të qëndrueshëm midis vendeve anëtare. Forumi ekonomik i Vienës mbledh së bashku lider politik, drejtues biznesesh, akademik dhe ekspert nga fusha të ndryshme për të diskutuar dhe të trajtuar sfidat ekonomike, sociale dhe politike në rajon. Ky forum ofron një platformë për dialog, rrjetëzim dhe shkëmbim idesh, duke nxitur bashkëpunim dhe partneritetin midis pjesëmarrësve të tij. Forumi fokusohet në një gamë të gjerë temash duke përfshirë tregtinë dhe investimet, zhvillimin e infrastrukturës, energjinë, inovacionin, digitalizimin, turizmin, bujqësinë dhe qëndrueshmërinë mjedisore. Ai organizon konferenca, seminare gjatë gjithë vitit për të lehtësuar diskutimet dhe për të eksploruar fushat e mundshme të bashkëpunimit. Nën patronazhin e kryeministrit të Republikës së Kosovës Albin Kurti, Forumi Ekonomik i Vienës për herë të parë në Prishtinë organizoi konferencën Vienna Economic Talks, Prishtina 2023. Kurti u uroi mirëseardhje të gjithë pjesëmarrësve dhe i informoi për progresin dhe arritjet e vendit në 2 vitet e fundit. Lidhur me atë arritura të qeverisë gjatë mandatit të tij, kryeministri Kurti tha se shifrat kanë treguar që Kosova është drejt rrugës së duhur. Ai bëri thirrje të punohet së bashku për të krijuar mundësime të mëdha zhvillimi. Përgjatë 3 sesioneve, përfaqësues të lartë të institucioneve vendore dhe ndërkombëtare diskutuan bashkëpunimin rajonal në fushën e investimeve përmes inovacionit teknologjik. Në këtë organizim, Kurti, në emër të Republikës së Kosovës në 15 vjetorin e pavarësisë, pranoi çmimin për bashkëpunim dhe kontribut në zhvillimin ekonomik në nivel kombëtar dhe rajonal nga Forumi Ekonomik i Vienës.
Të dashur shikues, në edicionin për Vienna Economic Forum, sonte kemi një prej ideatorëve të këtij forumi, zonja ambasadore me titull doktor Elena Kriqeva, që sonte ka ardhur në Prishtinë dhe e ka prezantuar Vienna Economic Forum, që është një organizatë me renome botërore. Dear Ambassador, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Can you tell us more about Vienna Economic Forum, when it was established, and how did you come up with the idea of establishing this organization that has become a regional and global player in policy making and consulting?
It's a very easy idea. I became Bulgarian ambassador after the change in Bulgaria, and my first position was Bulgarian ambassador to Switzerland. So I have had the possibility, the privilege to be part of World Economic Forum in Davos. It is really World Economic Forum. And after being ambassador in Switzerland, Liechtenstein, in Helsinki, Finland, in Austria, I realized immediately that Austria, Vienna, is the real place to have not world, but a regional forum. This is the easy idea to take together people who have common interests, who have the common vision to work together. I'm Bulgaria, I'm from the Balkan, the region is my region. I'm feeling people from every country from our region, and the idea was very, very good received from the Austrian polity, Austrian government, Austrian decision maker, and Austrian economy. If you remember, this time,
When it was established?
1990, no, I'm speaking about the change, but being ambassador in Vienna from 2001 2005, I established Vienna Economic Forum in 2004.
While you were still ambassador in...
I was still, yes. At this time as ambassador, normally I was do everything so honorably. And I mentioned today Dr. Busek, the co-founder and father of Vienna Economic Forum. After the end of my mandate as ambassador to Vienna, he told to me, Ambassador, if I go away, Vienna Economic Forum will die. We have in November, in Vienna, on 13th of November, the 20th Jubilee Vienna Economic Forum. The people from our region, the energy the people have, is, allow me to say, so in comparison with old Europe, we have the energy to change the things. If our energy from the region is really in the real direction. And this is the aim of Vienna Economic Forum, to consolidate the region, to take the real direction, to go and to develop as a region, to consolidate the region. And I believe, it is my vision, that the region belongs to Europe, and Europe needs a region as a consolidated.
Having a 20th anniversary, it means that you did a great job in maintaining this consistency in running an organization. What do you think? What is the highlight of Vienna Economic Forum? I'm sure that you have many of them, but what is the highlight, let's say, the most important project that you implemented?
I think that the vision of Vienna Economic Forum to develop the economy. The economy, because thinking about the beginning after the war in ex-Yugoslavia, we have now also war in Europe, to consolidate the people and to work for their prosperity is for every people, for every person is normal. It's normal. And if we put the economy together to work for the better understanding, for the better development of the regions, I think this is the real reason to be together.
When I was checking your project as an organization and everything, it was one of the goals was promoting investment opportunities from the region of Adriatic to the Black Sea. So, how successful you think that you've been in that respect?
Let me say, in the beginning, it was so thinking from Austria go to the region, and I can give you different facts. Austria became in first years of the founding of Vienna Economic Forum, the investor number one
In region.
Bulgaria, in Macedonia, North Macedonia nowadays, in different countries. And I think that this was the beginning. It was homogeneous Austrian forum. But now if you have a look about our board, we have a representative of different countries. And I believe and I'm expecting now to invite somebody from Kosovo to be a member of, somebody from the company, to be a member of the board of Vienna Economic Forum. And slowly, actually, after the being homogeneous Austrian, Vienna Economic Forum became regional. We have members from all countries of the Vienna Economic Forum, not only from these 13 countries, from the Adriatic to the Black Sea. We have members from Germany, from Belgium, from Liechtenstein, from Luxembourg, from Switzerland. Now, in the next day, we so prepare talks with the Baltic countries because the aim of Vienna Economic Forum to bring together the economy, and the economy is the motor. Economy should be and is the motor of the development. This is it's an easy idea and easy to do it. It's only some work. We have to work hard, but this is easier.
This region of Europe gone through many difficulties and challenges in the past, but economies of the Balkans are growing and performing well. What do you think? Which one is the star performer in terms of reforms and in terms of economic growth?
Actually, I think that in different periods they were and are different countries. What one country needs is stability, and it means also political stability, because the economy needs to have political and instability in the law system. So there are different things, and I think that if we all of us, the countries, I think, have to think about the European value. We have the criteria to become really so a good place for innovation, for investment. I mentioned that it's our second Pristina meeting, and I'm very proud. Let me say that I'm very proud that the first international organization after the independence of Kosovo was Vienna Economic Forum. So having 15 years of independence of Kosovo, actually we have also 15 years of membership of Kosovo to Vienna Economic Forum. So we have some connection, and looking from the first Pristina meeting here in 2009 for today, Kosovo had immense big development in the economy, in the facts, financial facts, etc. I'm very, very so satisfied with this development.
So I wanted to ask, what are the relationship between the Vienna Economic Forum and Government of Republic of Kosovo? You co-organize this event, and how do you define the relationship?
We try to be in every country from our member countries, and to take with us the investors who are in the market or who are interested to be in the market. So looking now to the Pristina meeting, we have many firms, not only from Austria. We have companies from different countries who are still here in Kosovo, or who had the aim to come to Kosovo. So this is a very important meetings to be for different so companies to think about and to see how so in the place in Pristina or in Kosovo the economy works.
Are you pleased with the outcome of the event so far in Pristina?
I'm very pleased. And we have very good cooperation with the government. But thinking about the government, we have the government is visionary who allowed us to make our work in the economy field.
What are the plans for the future? You are very active as an organization, so where is the next stop?
The plans for the future, we in all these 19 years, Vienna Economic Forum so managed to have different status. And I'm lawyer, and according to the law and Austrian law and the international public law, there are some preconditions, some steps, and Vienna Economic Forum has among all of the steps precondition to become for the future real international organization. On the road to this international, real United Nations international organization, sitting in Vienna, on this road actually is a special meat status, and I ask the government of Kosovo, the Prime Minister, to take in consideration. This is, according to the Austrian law, so-called quasi-international organization. It allowed these rules allowed a country like Kosovo, for example, to become a founder member
of this.
So that the next step for Vienna Economic Forum to be quasi-international organization sitting in Vienna. What is quite the status of a real international organization. This is the plan.
It's an ambitious plan, but doable. I wish you all the best in the future plans that you are, and I'm sure that you're gonna succeed in achieving those goals. And we want you to have a pleasant stay in Pristina.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the good wishes. And I think that with help of Kosovo, and with the good consolidation, we are able to go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, pleasure. Të dashur shikues, kaq ishte për intervistën e parë me sekretaren gjenerale të Vienna Economic Forum. Kthehemi pas një shkputje të shkurtër publicitare.
Si qëndrojnë marrëdhëniet tregtare mes Kosovës dhe Austrisë, sa ka investime direkte nga Austria, në cilë sektor janë më të interesuara bizneset nga Austria për të investuar në Kosovë. Këto dhe shumë detajet të tjera i ndjekim në storjen në vazhdim. Një 1951 është viti kur filloi historia e kompanisë austriake me distributorin e filmit Konstantin Film në Austri. E pas një ndryshimi strukturor në vitin 1993 u krijua kinemaja Cineplex nën kompani e Konstantin Film Holding. Ky biznes mori havë në një kohë ku shumë kompani tradicionale në Austri po zhdukeshin. Derisa sot Cineplex ka pothuajse 70 kinema në 12 vende, duke përfshirë edhe Kosovën. Ky investim austriak në vlerë mbi 3 milion euro në Kosovë erdhi në vitin 2016 e përfitime ekonomike po vazhdon t'i sjellë vendit edhe sot.
Në 2016 falë një bashkëpunime me Albi Mallin, në edhe në hapësirën dhe në fillum, po ishte një fillim i mbarë. Kërkush, as ata vetë s'kanë besu se do të ketë një boom për distributorët. Qysh vitin e parë, i thymë disa tabu nga për Kosovën, për shikueshmërinë e filmave dhe vitin e parë veç kur ajo te Austriak ishte ajo t'jen 200.000 shikues, na jem të kënaqur, na qysh në qershor i bën 200.000 shikues. Prej nëntorit hapje dhe ata u befason për të mirë dhe fillum larkadal për 3 vjet është kthy investimi. Në atë kohë ka qenë diku 3 milion ka qenë investimi në Prishtinë. Po mas 2 vjete me rezultateve të mira e hapëm edhe projektin e ri në Prizren. Në 2019 e bënëm edhe qendrën në galeri me 5 salla dhe Cineplexi u rrit Kosovë për një herë. E kaloi edhe Maqedoninë edhe Shqipërinë me rezultate.
Drejtori menaxhues për Cineplex në Kosovë thot se vetëm për 3 vite vendi ynë ka përfituar nga taksat e kësaj kompanie mbi 1.5 milion euro, derisa aty janë punësuar rreth 30 persona. Sigurisht, kjo nuk është e vetmja kompani nga Austria që ka investuar në Kosovë, por ka edhe shumë të tjera që kontribuojnë në ekonominë e vendit tonë. Këtë mund ta themi edhe duke u bazuar në të dhënat zyrtare për investimet e huaja direkte. Sipas Bankës Qendrore të Kosovës, në të dhënat për vlerën e investimeve direkte sipas shteteve, vlera e investimeve nga Austria është 22.9 milion euro në vitin 2021 dhe 44.7 milion euro në vitin 2022. Për vitin 2023 janë publike vetëm të dhënat për muajin janar që tregojnë se investimet direkte të realizuara nga Austria në Kosovë ishin në vlerë prej 6.1 milion euro. por ku janë të orientuara këto investime austriake, si dhe a ka interesim nga investitorë të tjerë austriak për të zgjeruar biznesin në Kosovë, tregon drejtoresha ekzekutive e Odës Ekonomike Austriake në Kosovë, Vjosa Hurgulica.
Austria është investitori i katërt më i madh në Kosovë dhe investimet austriake janë kryesisht në fushën e shërbimeve financiare, sigurimeve, në sektorin e energjisë dhe të IT-s. Interesimi i kompanive austriake për tregun kosovar është mjaft i madh. Ne para disa ditëve kemi pasur një mision ekonomik nga fusha e energjisë dhe ishin mbi 12 kompani austriake që janë të interesuar për të investuar në Kosovë. Kohëve të fundit kemi pasur edhe interesime të kompanive kosovare për të investuar në Austri. Deri me tani kemi disa investime simbolike, por interesimi është në rritje.
Përveç investimeve direkte që vijnë nga Austria, Kosova ka edhe raporte të mira tregtare me këtë vend mik. Të dhënat nga Agjencia e Statistikave të Kosovës tregojnë se vendi ynë ka eksportuar mallra drejt Austrisë në vlerë prej 6.4 milion euro gjatë tremujorit të parë të vitit 2023, kurse gjatë të njëjtës periudhë kohore ka importuar nga Austria mallra në vlerë prej 19.7 milion euro. Vjosa Hurgulica nga Oda Ekonomike Austriake në Kosovë flet edhe për trendin e shkëmbimeve tregtare mes dy vendeve.
Raportet tregtare Kosovë-Austri janë në rritje sipër. Vitin e kaluar kemi pas një rritje të konsiderueshme të eksporteve të mallrave të Kosovës në Austri, ku importet, të austriake në Kosovë kanë shënuar një rënje të vogël, por ajo që vlen të theksohet është rritja e trefishimi i eksporteve të shërbimeve të Kosovës në Austri. Pra rreth 300% janë rritur shërbimet eksporti i shërbimeve të Kosovës në Austri.
Ndryshe, remitencat apo dërgesat e emigrantëve sipas BÇK-s arritën në 1.2 miliard euro gjatë vitit 2022, derisa në janar dhe shkurt të vitit 2023 vlera e remitencave arriti në 168.3 milion euro, e rreth 5% e vlerës totale erdhën nga Austria.
Të dashur shikues, në serinë e intervistave gjatë organizimit të forumit ekonomik të Vienës, kemi musafir zotërin ambasador Viktor Jaković, që është president i bordit mbikëqyrës do të thotë të forumit. Ne me të do të diskutojmë për tema të ndryshme, ka një eksperiencë të gjatë në regionin e Ballkanit, por do të flasemi për forumin dhe për pozitën e tij në këtë forum. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
So you've been more than 3 decades you served in U.S. administration.
Yes.
And you were the first ambassador of United States in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Correct.
You've seen the worst of this region when we had conflicts and everything, but now everywhere you go around you see development. What is your opinion about Balkans in 2023?
In 2023, well, there have been a lot of forward movement. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of development. You're quite right. Many years ago in the 1990s, things deteriorated. And we had warfare, we had atrocities, we had genocide. We had a lot of big problems that were finally able to be resolved, or at least for a period of time to be resolved. And now we're entering a period where we can have more development, and there can be a normalization, a stabilization of relations, stabilization of life, a normalization of life, so that people can look forward to taking place in the European mainstream and in Euro-Atlantic institutions like the European Union, like NATO, like other organizations. And you're already an integral part of Europe. You don't need to prove anything about being Europeans. You are Europeans. But belonging to the institutions, joining the institutions of the European Union and NATO and other places, this has got to be the objective for the near future for Kosovo, in my opinion, and for other countries in the region.
So, what do you think that European integration at the moment is off the table. It's a long distance objective. NATO, most of the countries have become part of the NATO, except Kosovo because of still some of the countries have to recognize Kosovo within the NATO alliance. What do you think are the main challenges of the Balkan countries today?
Well, the main challenge is probably, I would say, democracy and achieving real democracy within the states that exist. Also, nationalism. On the part of some countries, there is still the problem of nationalism. Many of my Western colleagues talk about corruption, but I look at corruption as being something that exists in a lot of places. It exists around the world. Does it exist in the Balkans? Of course. Is it a major problem? Perhaps. But these other problems are more important and need to be resolved. That's the way I look at the Balkans. But, you know, you're talking about the European integration process. I think you're hinting at this at least and making reference to it. It was quite vigorous in the past, as we know, in the 1990s and the early 2000s. You know, in the beginning, 1972, let's say, there were 6 countries in the European Union and 15 countries in NATO. And today we have 29 countries, if I'm correct, in the European Union and 30 in NATO. So there's been this great expansion, this great enlargement of both the European Union and NATO. Now, it reached a pause around, I would say, 2008, let's say, and then we had a series of crises. We had the financial crisis of 2008. We had the migration crisis for Western Europe of 2015. We had the twin crises, I would call them, in 2016 of Brexit and the election of President Trump, because President Trump was very anti-EU, if you recall, and very anti-European. So that was a crisis also. And then finally COVID. COVID was also part of the crisis. So during this period of time there was...
and when we all thought that with the COVID we are done, then we had the Russia attack Ukraine.
Well, and you have that now too. But during this whole period of time, it really gave the Europeans an opportunity to reassess where they are. If you go back and look at some of the comments by President Macron from France, then you see back in 2019, right up to the current time. In April, he made a very important speech in the Netherlands about European security policy, European industrialization policy, things of this nature. He and many others, not only he, are very interested in making sure that there is cohesion in the European Union before there is further enlargement. But you're quite right. Now we're faced with another issue, and that is the Russian second invasion of Ukraine in 2022. But you know, I look at this in a different way. I look at this and I say, this makes the enlargement of EU and NATO into the Balkans more urgent. It means that we should not look at this as just another issue. It's something we should do. And over these past years, we also, not only was it a period of reassessment, but I think it was a period of complacency. We believed that there was a forward march of EU membership, NATO membership, people want to join. Brexit was a shock because
No one expected that.
Brexit meant that somebody doesn't want to stay in the EU. And there are NATO countries that have come in, and there are discussions in those NATO countries about what to do about the future. So we're in a situation not only of reassessment, but ironically, we're now facing urgency. You know, it's kind of like when I'm lecturing at universities, then I tell people it's kind of like when you're a student and you're told you have 2 months to write a paper. And for the first several weeks, you don't do anything because you have 2 months. You're complacent. You don't do anything. And then suddenly you realize the library is closed. The library is closed. It's under construction. Your internet is down. Maybe you catch the flu or something. and then all of a sudden at the last minute you say, oh my goodness, I could have done this earlier. The EU and NATO could have enlarged earlier, but they did not. And now they're facing a big crisis with this urgency in Ukraine. Quite correct.
In February 2023, you were elected as the president of Vienna Economic Forum.
That's correct.
First non-Austrian to hold this position.
Yes, that's correct.
What is your connection with the Vienna Economic Forum?
Oh, the Vienna Economic Forum I've worked with for many, many, many years, going back almost to its beginning when I was still in the U.S. government or I was fresh out of the U.S. government. And I always collaborated with them and cooperated with them. I was a member of the board for a long time. When I was installed earlier this year as the president, and you're quite right, I was the first non-Austrian president in the organization's history. I even joked at the installation, I said, you know, when my grandparents left this part of the world and came to the United States, there was no Yugoslavia. There were none of the republics that have emerged since that time as states, as republics. There was Austro-Hungary. So when my grandparents came to the United States in the early 1900s, they're registered as Austrians. So in a way I told them, this means that there's
heritage.
Continuity. There's continuity of the Austrian leadership of the Vienna Economic Forum.
In your speech, you said that you've been to Kosovo during 60s. Now we are in 2023. Kosovo is an independent state, and it has many challenges. It moved forward in terms of establishing rule of law and functional democracy, but there is a way forward to go.
Yeah.
What is your impression about Kosovo now that you came back after almost 50 years? Actually, 60 years almost.
Well, 60 years ago was when I first came here in the 1960s. But in the meantime, I've been coming back from time to time into Kosovo to see what's going on, to conduct some business, to talk with friends, and to find out what the developments are here in Kosovo. Well, I have a very strong opinion about Kosovo and a very positive opinion about it. I think, first of all, you have a welcoming environment, if we talk about it from the standpoint of the Vienna Economic Forum and economic issues, then I would say that you have a very welcoming environment here in Kosovo for foreigners to come here. They are welcomed here. There is stability of your marketplace. I would say macroeconomically you have a very stable situation. I think there are specific opportunities that foreign businesses can look at, which is one of the reasons we brought IT people, transportation solutions people, all kinds of people that can look at those opportunities and those potentials that are here. And you have them. You have them in the timber industry, textile, automotive, minerals. There's a host of opportunities here. And we wanted to familiarize them with what those opportunities are. You also have better infrastructure than you had in the past. The roads, the railways, this is no comparison to when I was here in the 1960s. Things are very different. The most important difference, of course, is that you are an independent state. You were a strong, vigorous, sovereign, independent state. At that time, you were far from that.
You were in Bosnia not until the final Dayton agreement was achieved, but you've seen that afterwards there was establishment of Federation and Republika Srpska, and now many people say that Bosnia is a dysfunctional state and it's very hard to agree on something, everything. Now Kosovo is in similar dilemma. There is a huge pressure on our government to establish association of Serbian municipalities. What is your opinion on that issue?
I will be very blunt. I think it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea politically. It's a bad idea for attracting foreign investment. In Bosnia, I was there when the Republika Srpska was first formed and when it was codified into the Dayton Accords, the peace accords on Bosnia and Herzegovina. In the old days, if we look 25, 27 years ago, at the beginning of it, it was simply an administrative division, nothing more. It was an integral part of Bosnia and Herzegovina, an administrative division. Now, after 25 years of existence, it has developed its institutions, it has strengthened itself to the point where the leadership of this Republika Srpska is threatening to secede from Bosnia, is saying that they can be an independent state, separate from Bosnia. This is very dangerous.
So it's a similar situation in Kosovo?
I would not predict that that would happen with the Association of Serbian Municipalities in Kosovo. I would not predict that. But the similarities are inescapable. The similarities are inescapable. It is a mistake of Western diplomacy, I'm sorry to say, because these are my colleagues in Washington. But I must say it is a mistake on the part of Washington. It is a mistake on the part of Brussels to insist that you do this in Kosovo. And if you do this, you will do this because of them and not because of yourselves. The experience in Bosnia is clear. Bosnia is a dysfunctional state with a lack of consensus. The American policy in Croatia was very similar in the 1990s. It failed, it did not succeed. But the American policy was to divide the country between Serbian and Croatian enclaves, geographically, territorially. It never happened. Why? Because the Croatians decided to resolve the issue militarily. So that problem never developed in Croatia. The problem for investment is this. Investors look for a unified regime. They look for not a fragmented environment, as we were talking about today. They look for a unified environment. This is why in Bosnia and Herzegovina there's foreign direct investment, but there could be a lot more in Bosnia
than there are now.
If it were not for the fact that there are two regimes. There are two regulatory regimes, two regulatory frameworks that the outside investor has to deal with.
Bureaucratic burden for businesses.
And at a statewide level, the Bosnia-wide level, if they want to take reforms, make reforms in the commercial regimes with the regulatory regimes, there's very little consensus, which means it moves very slowly, or it is blocked and doesn't move at all. Again, I'm not predicting this for Kosovo, and I hope that doesn't happen. But that is the danger. You have investors who come in and say, I want an environment that I can understand, that is easy to understand.
Less bureaucracy.
Direct, unified, the same rules for every part of the country. That's what the investor is looking for. You're already fragmented after the dissolution of Yugoslavia.
Yes, we agree
People
on that.
People come here and they say, I have to do business in 6 different countries or 7 different countries. It's a very different situation from what it used to be.
Now, you are in the private sector once you left the administration. Would you invest in Kosovo?
I would advise other people to invest. I have nothing to invest. My company doesn't make anything. We simply give advice. My advice to people would be what I said about Kosovo, the stable environment, the fact that you have a very developed infrastructure, the fact that your regulatory regime is very inviting for outsiders. You have a 10% flat tax, I think, on corporations, for example.
And dividend tax is 0, so.
Yeah, things like that. And also you have a very youthful population that is very educated, especially when it comes to computer technology and IT awareness, ability to use computers, foreign languages. So yes, I would definitely advise people to come to Kosovo.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, it was a pleasure talking to you. And hopefully next time we will come with more investors and we will organize something similar like Vienna Economic Talks. And I wish you a great presidency of the forum.
Well, thank you very much. We consider that Kosovo is a very important key player in the Vienna Economic Forum. You're one of 13 states that is a member state of the Vienna Economic Forum. And as I said, we regard it as a special mission vis-a-vis Kosovo in order to help you on the path to Euro-Atlantic integration. I thank you.
Të dashur shikues, kjo është intervista me ambasadorin zotëri Viktor Jaković. Ne do ta bëjmë një shkputje të shkurtër publicitare dhe kthehemi pas pak.
Austria në statistika ekonomike titullohet Storia e radhës që do ta ndjekim në vazhdim për të informuar me aktualitetin ekonomik të Austrisë, si GDP-n, eksportet, inflacionin dhe kështu me radhë. Për shekuj me radhë, Austria ishte fuqi e madhe perandorake në Evropën qendrore, deri në rënien e dinastisë së saj Habsburge pas luftës së parë botërore. Megjithatë, pozicioni gjeografik në hartën e Evropës, si dhe statusi neutral gjatë luftës së ftohtë midis NATO-s dhe bllokut sovjetik, i ruajtën rëndësinë strategjike Austrisë. Sot, Austria është antare e Bashkimit Evropian, megjithse jo e NATO-s. Derisa kryeqyteti i saj, Vienna, është shtëpi e një numri të madh të organizatave ndërkombëtare, si Organizata për Siguri dhe Bashkëpunim në Europë, Agjencia Ndërkombëtare e Energjisë Atomike dhe Organizata e Vendeve Eksportuese të Naftës. E përkufizuar gjeografikisht me 8 shtete si Gjermaninë, Zvicrën, Republikën Çeke, Slovakinë, Hungarinë, Sloveninë, Italinë dhe Liechtensteinin, ka bërë që Austria të jetë udhkryq për rrugë tregtare midis zonave kryesore ekonomike dhe kulturore europiane. Kësaj, sipas Advantage Austria, partnerët kryesor të tregtisë së Austrisë janë vendet si Gjermania, Italia, Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës, Zvicra dhe Polonia. E megjithse 9 milion banor, sipas Fondit Monetar Ndërkombëtar, prodhimi i brendshëm bruto i Austrisë është 515.2 miliard dollar amerikan. Ndërsa sipas vlerësimeve të Trading Economics në 3 muajt e parë të vitit 2023, ekonomia austriake ra me 0.3%, pasi nuk tregoi rritje në periudhën e mëparshme. Kjo ishte tkurrja e parë që nga tremujori i 4 i vitit 2021, indikuar kryesisht nga rënja e shpenzimeve të qeverisë. Gjithashtu, kërkesa e jashtme neto kontriboi negativisht në produktin e brendshëm bruto, pasi eksportet ranë më shumë, me minus 1.8% kundrejt minus 0.7%, sesa importet me minus 0.1% kundrejt 0.5%. Në anën tjetër, konsumi i familjeve u rikuperua me 0.7% kundrejt minus 1.2%, ndërsa investimet fikse u rritën më tej me 1.1% kundrejt 0.7%. Në bazë vjetore, prodhimi i brendshëm bruto i vendit u rrit me 1.8%, duke u zbutur nga një rritje prej 2.6% në tremujorin e mëparshëm. Ndryshe, sektori i shërbimeve përbën 63% të PBB-s totale të Austrisë, i pasuar nga sektori industrial me 25% dhe sektori bujqësor që mbetet i vogël por shumë i zhvilluar e që përbën 1% të prodhimit të brendshëm bruto. Nga ana e shpenzimeve, konsumi i familjeve është komponenti kryesor i PBB-s dhe përbën 54%, i ndjekur nga formimi i kapitalit fiks bruto me 22% dhe shpenzimet qeveritare me 20%. Sa i përket çmimeve, norma e inflacionit në Austri ishte 9.2% në muajin mars 2023, me një rënje të lehtë nga muaji paraprak ku inflacioni ishte 10.9%, raporton Statistics Austria. Ndryshe, 74% e popullsisë totale në moshë pune në Austri janë të punësuar. Shkalla e punësimit tek burrat është 78%, derisa shkalla e punësimit tek gratë është 70%, sipas Statistics Austria. Të nderuar shikues, kaq kishim për sonte. Vikend të këndshëm dhe shihemi të premten e javës së ardhshme.